Guy gave me I was at a summer camp. I was probably 13, 14 years old, and a friend of mine gave me to borrow his CD box set of Otis Redding, who I had never heard of. And in a single transaction, my world was changed forever. The sounds and the playing on those songs is still what, like, it just resonates to me. I have a very clear memory of David Ryan Harris, who had come in to record a song, and his band Follow for Now had previously recorded at Nickel and Dime, I think, or with Dawn. But he had called, Dawn was out of town, so I had to like get it, or bring in an engineer. But I was running the studio, and it was a good session, good paying, good music. And I remember during the session pulling David Ryan Harris aside and just being like, your music is great. If you ever need a keyboard player, like, I like what you do, kind of thing. And that stuck with him, and he called me, it was months later, maybe half a year, but it was time to start putting out and touring his record. And he called me and offered me the gig, and I remember this, like, going to rehearse for the day, and I was going to get paid to rehearse, and we were going to rehearse 5 days a week, and it meant I was no longer studio management, but it was fine. It was time for me to, you know, that studio was going to do fine. But I remember that feeling of driving home from that first rehearsal thinking like, well, that's it. I'm actually a musician now. Like, it's not just like I got paid on top of the things I was doing. Like, this is now what I do. And it was so freeing to like, well, when I get home, all I got to do is just be ready to rehearse tomorrow. I don't have to carry all this other stress around of bills and, you know, of the other job. And, you know, I think back to that often now.
You think that was the turning point?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I've worked some since then and various gigs here and there, just between when I knew if there was a down period or something unique would come along. I did a little computer programming for a while. I worked in a mailroom for a little bit. There's all those little jobs you pick up. But from that point forward, I've considered myself a professional musician as opposed to just a musician trying to make a living. I had just gotten this particular beat making thing called MPC 3000 that I'd learned to play from David Ryan Harris, and I was experimenting with it, and it was just a perfect timing for what I was interested in. And I think he wanted to kind of shake up his normal, like, you know, give me some different people, different world. And so it was the next week we got together at a rehearsal space I had, and we started working. And that's where the sound for that record came out. And we did that record for, $50 and a pizza every day. You know, it was, which was not unusual at the time.
Right.
Like, we were happy to do it. We were excited. He was paying what he could, and we were all going to make it work. And to his credit, you know, once it blew up, he came back and paid everybody. Like, it wasn't that idea that like you do this for a living and you want people to hear it, but once it gets to the radio, it's the metrics are you can't even fathom it. People have heard this millions and millions and millions and millions of times. It's you can't handle the numbers, right? And it's crazy to think about that. To me, I had a very special, crazy moment. I was in a mall, in a department store, like, buying something, I don't know what.
This was back then?
This is back then. And here comes the Muzak version of Lullaby. And I hear it and I'm like, how crazy is that? Like, this thing that I was a part of, somebody sat in a cubicle and recreated for the pleasure of these shoppers. And on top of it, there was this piano pass that we did that was very much like, I think somebody said, maybe it was Shawn, like, I kind of hear a piano and like, give it a shot, and they were tracking something else, and I just played a piano pass that, like, I was like, I don't think there's anything good in there, and they were like, no, it's good. We never went back and listened. I never, you know, edited it, never thought about it, never fixed it. It's very just kind of happenstance, and there it was, note for note, happenstance recreated by some poor person in a cubicle at you know, and it was that sort of version of like, that really makes it real. It really confirms somebody else heard this outside of my little world, which you never quite believe. I'm definitely aware, because we have those moments, Kristian and I have those moments that we connect on stage that feels like there's a continuity that goes through our lives. You know, it seems bigger than that moment, you know. And it's also this kind of look we give each other of like, can you believe we've pulled this off? Like, this is what we do. You know, we've known each other as musicians since long before we were talented and able, you know, but feeling like we were.
So you've never been jealous of
Oh no.
his success or his
No.
his visibility?
Yeah,
'Cause-
no.
'cause, I mean, like you like being the guy kind of toward the back of the stage,
It's
enter keyboards, and I'm good.
It is my personality.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's not that I don't. It's not that I shun the limelight. I enjoy getting to kind of explore that part of my personality, and I've enjoyed it in various ways. But it's, you know, my biggest musical influence, and this is honest to God truth, is Ralph the dog from the Muppet Show, and it's because I have identified like he's present. He is there to tell you how you feel, but in no way is he like wanting center stage, right? Something about the personality of that Muppet character has spoken to me my whole life, and I think of it like I really enjoy when there's an artist, a vision, even when it's composing and there's a video content that I'm working with or some sort of media. My job is to interpret that and to bring it to life. And that's what I feel like I do when I'm playing someone's music live, or when I'm composing, or when I'm playing on a record. It is that process that I identify with and I love. And I mean, it brings me such joy to finish a show at night with all these people and just like bow, be grateful, and be done. You know, like my energy's done. It's not that I'm incapable of, you know, shaking hands or anything. It's just that like no part of that is I'm hungry for at all, you know. And yeah, there's years on the road with Sugarland where I would be like in my bunk reading a book before people made it to their cars in the parking lot. Like, I'm out, you know.